But guys, thank you for visiting campus today. I know you've been welcomed a whole bunch and you've been on campus for a little bit. But do you mind, before that we kind of jump into the workshop and before we introduce ourselves, do you mind if I just pray with us to get the day started? Is that all right with you guys? Okay. Father, thank you so much for today. This is a wonderful chance that we have as your children to go out and grow your kingdom, to be above and beyond what we ever personally could think of. Father, I am so thankful for each one of the families that we have here today. Lord, you have brought them to campus for a specific purpose. Lord, I pray that you are opening their ears and their eyes so they can hear and see what you are doing on this campus. Father, I pray over Cassidy and I's words today. Lord, may they not be our own, but may they be yours and yours alone. Father, we love you. We thank you. We praise you, but above all, we trust you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, my name is Alex Samuel. I'm an admissions counselor here at Indiana Wesleyan. I work with students primarily from the Indianapolis area, so don't worry, we'll get to figure out where you guys are from. But I primarily work with kids from Indianapolis. I've been here for 2 years as a full-time employee and 4 years prior to that as a student. I graduated from Iowa with a degree in secondary English education, so I am a licensed teacher for the state of Indiana, which is awesome, and I love being able to say that and show that when I go to schools and talk to kids. But I really felt the Lord calling me back here to Indiana Wesleyan after graduating. This is an office that I worked in for 2.5 years while I was a student on campus, so making the transition from doing that as a student to being a full-time employee was a very easy, great transition that I absolutely felt the Lord was leading me on. I don't really know how the Lord's going to continue using me on campus. Starting Monday, I pray it's to be an admissions counselor again for like my own sanity's sake. That was supposed to be a joke, and you guys could have laughed. Okay?
You gotta warm up a little
That's
bit.
how this will work.
They've been out in the rain.
I know they
They're
have.
cold.
That's how this will work. Like Cassidy and I are going to tell jokes, and you guys are going to laugh.
Yeah, more this.
Yeah.
I'll try.
More on this side of the room. You might get a couple out of her.
Maybe.
Do you want to introduce yourself too?
Yes, absolutely. My name's Cassidy Vide. I've been an admissions counselor here for 2 years as well. So Alex and I have some similar things in our stories, which is really cool. We were in school the same amount of time, so during the same year. So I graduated a couple of years ago with a degree in psychology. I also worked as a student worker here before I became an admissions counselor and before I graduated. So I worked back in our telecounseling office. So all the people that call you from here are mainly the students who work back there. So I got to talk to prospective students like you guys. Then I was a student worker up in the front here, so I'd work at the front desk and I'd give tours like you guys are going to get to experience after this. So, but yeah, for me, I love working in admissions. I love welcoming people to a place that is home for me and hoping that, you know, could maybe become home for you guys as well. But yeah, I don't know, again, where God's going to kind of lead me next, either with psychology or what I'm doing next, but and I will talk a little bit about kind of what that journey has looked like for me a little bit later. But we want to take some time to kind of get to know you guys too, but I'll kind of prep you for that by first talking about what we're going to be doing today. So the workshop is something that's a little bit different, and we're hoping that it's going to be different from maybe what you would experience on another college visit. Has anybody else been on a college visit before? Okay. And then first college visit? Okay, awesome. And anybody been on our campus before? Our first time for everybody? You been here? So yeah, so first time for everybody here, and then kind of some earlier ones. How about you guys? Are you kind of in like second, third, fourth, you know, kind of college visit?
Stop.
Quite
Are
a
you
few more. She
serious?
held up 7 fingers over there. So 7th college visit. What about you? What number are you
My
on?
dad is the third, but I'm
Okay.
myself by myself.
Okay, all right, good deal. Okay, so kind of everybody's kind of at a different point in kind of the search process, but all of that to say, we really want this to be something that's unique. The purpose of this is to ask you questions that are life-changing questions, questions that maybe you've already kind of been wrestling with and maybe you haven't yet, maybe it's some new questions too. So this is, like Alex had mentioned before, going to be a conversation, so that's why we kind of wanted to be closer, not something where we're just speaking at you, where we're having a conversation with you guys kind of about how things are going to look for you, things that you can kind of be considering as you're looking at different schools. So we would love to know who you guys are. So students, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, you want to say what your name is, where you're from, what grade you are in school, and then let's say, what is your favorite part about summer? I would say probably not pouring rain and thunderstorms, but who
Absolutely.
knows? Maybe, but yeah, so favorite part about summer. Did I forget anything
Are
else?
you good?
I think we're good. Okay. Do you want to go ahead and start us first, down here on the end?
I can. I'm Rachel, and I'll be a senior. There was what were the other questions?
I know. And I did forget to, yeah, where you're from, and then also if you guys can introduce who's with you too. So introduce your guest that is with you today. So,
This is my little
lovely mother, what is lovely
Does
mother's
mother have a
name?
name?
Heather.
Heather, awesome.
And we're from Ohio,
Okay.
We're in Ohio.
Fredericktown.
So like up Toledo area?
No, it's about an hour north of Columbus.
Okay.
It's like
Like
central
on 70
Ohio, right in
okay.
the middle.
So like
Smack down
I'm
the
north of Columbus, so I'm like 75 though. Like
Okay,
if you get off on like exit 106, like Watkins and Watkins,
yeah,
like I live out there, like my parents do.
we have like 2,000 people in our town.
Yep. 850.
And most of them
I'm
are
right there,
Amish.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am. I worked 10 years with the Amish. 10 years I was spent with them guys working. They're nice people.
That's cool.
Hard workers.
Yes, sir.
All right, Rachel, and final thing, what is your favorite thing about summer?
I like the mission trips. I just got back from them.
Yeah, where'd you go?
We just stayed like in Mansfield
Okay.
area.
Oh,
And we did like service projects during the morning, and then we had like a kids sports camp, like an industry thing at the end.
what high school do you go to?
Fredericktown.
Fredericktown. I don't know. There, I used to work with students from the northern part of Ohio there. So like Mansfield, Worcester, like I know
Yeah.
all that area there. So
I just picked her up.
curious.
She had to leave a day early from her missions to come here.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome, good
Miss?
deal.
My name's Anna. I'm from Fort Wayne. It's my dad. It's
Hi,
Alex.
Alex.
I actually graduated last year.
Okay.
Nice.
Have you been going to school anywhere?
I was, but
Okay.
they started like out of nowhere raising my tuition, so I had to like leave.
Okay, okay.
It just like it literally went from $70 per semester to like $3,000. I'm like, okay.
It's a huge jump.
Yes.
Yeah, something happened. It just not affect her.
It just wasn't me. It was a bunch of people.
Like 100 and, I think it's only was 107 students. It was the same problem that we signed in to the college to tell us how much we want to
Yeah,
pay. And
in
then
the
after
beginning
that.
they had told us we had tuition lock, and then all of a sudden I guess none of us had tuition lock.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
You just
Okay,
see-
so you had taken some classes.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so graduated last year, so 2016. And Anna, what's your favorite thing about summer?
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Give
okay,
me
that is,
something.
that is a good one. I'm with you.
Okay, Cassie will let that slide.
Yes.
And I'm gonna pull more out of you today. More than just sleeping. Okay. Miss?
I'm Mallory. This is my mom, Marla. We're from Sycamore, Illinois. I'm going to be a senior. And my favorite thing about summer is going on vacation.
Vacation. Have you guys gone anywhere yet or plans
Yeah,
to?
we just got back last month.
Okay, from where?
Wisconsin, or Kevin and
Nice.
Kobe.
Awesome. Oh, sounds great. Sounds very relaxing.
Cool. I take notes of you guys, so. I don't wanna forget
Gotta
your, I don't wanna forget your name.
Who you are.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to walk through what you guys have in your folders in front of you. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and opening those up. Okay. When you guys arrived, either inside your packet or they're stuck to the front. Actually, Miss Anna, what you just pulled out, that's what I want to look at. That's called your profile sheet. Good job, Anna. Okay. Some of you may have already turned it in. Looks like you did. Okay, good job. But Miss Mallory and Miss Anna, you still have yours. Throughout this presentation, and preferably during like the first part, go ahead and look over that. Anything that's highlighted, we'd like to know it's either correct or if it's incorrect on there, or we may not even have anything like filled in that slot. This gives us the chance to get to know you better. So if you guys call in and have questions or concerns, our staff can help you the best we possibly can. So if you still have that in there, we'd love to have it, and you can turn it into Miss Sam at the front desk. Looking at this as well, this kind of shows what you have in here. You do have some coupons in your folder, okay? Woo-hoo. Those coupons are for the coffee shop and the bookstore. I would absolutely recommend stopping at the coffee shop before going home today. Coffee shop closes at 4 o'clock, so just keep that in mind today, okay? My suggestion for you, coffee shop wise, would be to get a couple options. You can get a 16-ounce sticky toffee with a shot of espresso in it. It is utterly delicious.
Very good. Smells like
Or,
Christmas.
it does smell like Christmas, I can look up. My favorite drink is a vanilla chai with skim milk and a shot of espresso. That'd be worth getting too, like whatever it is. Use your coupon. I think it's 10% off at the coffee shop and 20% off at the bookstore. So it doesn't expire, so you can use it today, you can use it whenever you'd like to. Okay? You already took care of lunch, you don't have to worry about that. Your schedule's in there as well. The schedule, like you guys have, should look similar to the person sitting next to you. So okay, you don't have to compare your schedules. You can if you want to. I mentioned that, and they both share schedules with each other. But it would have like lunch, this workshop, and a campus tour for sure. Some of you guys, if you have an individual appointment later today, or maybe with a coach or a faculty member, it may be written in there as well. What we can do is, especially while you're on your tour today, if there's something that you thought of that, oh, maybe I should sit down and talk about this with an admissions counselor or with somebody else in the office, you can actually text this phone number right here, and it's inside your packet, it's on a little card. That number goes directly to our visit team, and we can start scheduling things and working on things for you guys while you're on your tour. That way you don't have to come back to the office, then request something, then sit and wait kind of awkwardly and impatiently. We can be taking care of it early enough for you guys. Final thing, we do have free t-shirts for everybody, so that's awesome. There's an evaluation sheet inside your folder. Guys, we like knowing the things that we're doing well and doing poorly. Anything we're doing well, we want to make sure we're continuing to do it well, to be honest with you. And anything we're not doing well, we want to change immediately. So if you could fill that out before the end of the day today and turn it in, you can get your t-shirt, that'd be fantastic for us. Okay? Do you guys have any questions about the things that are inside your folder? No? Okay. Cass, you want to hit him with a little bit of a teaser question for today?
I will. All right, so in a little bit, Alex is going to kind of walk through who are we section, kind of talking about who we are here. But before that, I want to give you guys kind of an idea of what we're going to be talking about next. And I want to ask you guys the question, what is your passion? So kind of think of something maybe that is energizing to you, something that is exciting to you, gives you life. For me, I love talking to new people. I love talking to strangers. In my life I always say that there are no strangers in my life, only friends I haven't met yet. So I can talk about anything with anyone at any time. I love talking to people. It's interesting to me too, I get to kind of see that my grandpa does the same thing, and I didn't realize until I was older that I feel like I got that from him. So I really, really love talking to people about anything. So that can kind of lead into maybe what you want to do, or maybe it can be something that, maybe you don't see how it fits yet, but something that you are passionate about. So kind of be thinking about that as Alex goes.
So, I do want to talk about who we are as a university, okay? So, this is my favorite picture of campus. Kind of like a way up top view of who we are. Unfortunately, they didn't get our office into this. Is it this one?
That's Maxwell.
I never thought that was Maxwell. I thought we were like down here.
That's Maxwell.
Okay, so we're right here, I guess. Whatever. But the nice thing is, guys, the way campus is kind of split up is, and you'll see this on your tour today, this bottom corner over by Cassidy, it's a lot of our academic buildings on campus. So you don't have to be running from one side of campus to the other to get to a class that are 5 minutes apart. Right smack dab in the middle of campus, we have our student center, which is where you guys ate today. You'll get a better in-depth analysis of all the services and the different programs that are available to students that actually are hubbed inside the student center for you. And then kind of wrapping around campus on the back side and the side over here, that's where our students are living on campus. We actually have students live on campus for all 4 years. We had a rule clause, I guess, a while back that said students could move off campus if they met certain criteria, but so few of our students were actually moving off campus. We kind of were internally asking, like, why are we even offering this if 1% of the available students to move off campus are actually doing it? So So we changed that. So students stay on campus for all 4 years. There are plenty of different types of residence hall options, and you will see one of those today. So it's really nice. Indiana Wesleyan here, like, yes, we're absolutely going to focus on your academics. But for us, it's also equally important that we are growing you towards Christ. In every single thing that we do here on campus, Christ comes first. Whether that be in the classrooms, intramurals, athletics, even your social group settings, like anything that you do on campus is Christ-centered first and foremost. Then, of course, academics come second, and our final goal is to make sure that you guys are prepared the best that we can possibly prepare you to use the gifts and the strengths the Lord's given you to go out and do great things in the world. So we're going to be trying to be growing you also professionally in your career. So it's kind of a holistic experience, growing you spiritually, academically, and professionally. Do you want to hit the next slide? This is actually our mission statement of Indiana Wesleyan. This is something I wanted to make sure you guys saw today. Not just looked at on a poster somewhere, but we actually talked about, because this is important to us. It says that Indiana Wesleyan University is a Christ-centered academic institution that is committed to developing and changing this world committed to changing the world by developing students through character, scholarship, and leadership. Guys, no matter how many times we've rewritten this, reworked this, tweaked it, or completely scrapped it, there are a couple main themes that always resonate. First and foremost, like I just mentioned, we are Christ-centered first. It says that in our mission statement because we believe it with all of our hearts. Second thing is that we are going to be changing the world through you guys by actually developing you in your character, your scholarship, and your leadership. Now today, Cassidy and I are actually going to take time to unpack each one of those things and how Indiana Wesleyan is going to be growing you guys. Because we don't just want to say it, we want to actually do it. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how we are actually doing that. Does that give you guys a good picture of kind of who we are as a university? Awesome.
All right, guys, so back to that question. What is your passion? Who wants to go ahead and start this? Want to go the opposite direction now? Maybe
Yeah, I'm
start
pretty
with
sure Miss
Mallory?
Mallory wants to go first. I saw her hand go up.
Uh-huh, yeah, she's pretty excited about that.
No, I like helping people, and so like, kind of like where like I want to major in nursing or
Nice.
go to like good medical schools.
Yep.
Yeah.
Miss Anna? Not yet. We're going to let all the students answer, and then I want to see if parents come through and add or supplement what students said. Because sometimes students completely overlook something that their parents obviously see inside of them. So we'll get back to you. Miss Anna? Okay. Absolutely love to dance.
What
If
kind
you
of
were
dance
given,
do you do?
Anytime,
Any kind?
Are you like really good at it?
You sure about that?
Okay. What are kind of your favorites? Ballet?
Nice. Miss Rachel?
Probably children and animals.
Okay.
Like at the same time, so like petting zoos?
We should have a group full of children and kids, you probably.
You'd just be so thrilled, wouldn't you?
Children, animals. Do you guys own any animals?
Yeah.
What animals?
Thank you for asking me if I didn't own any children. I did for you.
Yes. Thanks. Yeah, what animals do you guys own?
We have 5 cats and 1 dog.
Oh my word. It's a lot of kids.
Outside strays that we feed.
Yes.
I'm gonna live where she's living.
You like animals too? Good deal. Alrighty, so parents, yeah, do you guys have things to add for your students?
Or were they pretty close?
Go ahead.
I would add she likes to help people. I would say that where I see Mallory light up the most is around children.
Yeah.
Sir, did Anna get it right? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I
it's okay,
apologize.
she's just so even keel, but kids, she
Yeah.
lights up.
Yeah.
Well, I like to help people too. And the more importantly is family. We put a family together.
Yeah.
You know, we're not when you're gonna need somebody that will support you. And the more importantly in my life is
sir.
But meantime, I help people who know colorways, whatever, I help them.
That's asking about my
No,
Well, I know. I like knowing about parents
My
too,
dad,
you know?
a bit about her. I know she likes dancing, but she kind of, sometimes I was worried about her. She works, one day she wanted to be, so like that, next day, like be with the animals, 100%.
Uh-huh.
So,
They're my babies. Yeah, I'm so glad.
And that is okay too, like you can see your, you have a lot of different things that maybe are exciting to you and passions, and sometimes they can all feed into, what you end up doing with your life. And sometimes they can just be something that maybe it's not what you do for a career, but it's something that you always have to have in your life, that's a priority for you. And I think that's something that I've kind of distinguished as I even have graduated from college and seen that.
I'm more passionate about animals than this. I'm taking it close to the little ones. You cry for
Kids
them.
too.
They're babies.
Alright, and what about Rachel's? Have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close.
Yeah.
She's kind of like me. I'm 44 and don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I think she's going to be that way too. She doesn't really know, but she knows that she does do,
Yeah.
she loves working with the kids in the mission stuff, so she's got to try and figure out how to channel that into a career path of some sort.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're all kind of in that stage all the time, like trying to figure out, what we're about, always evaluating what we're
Well,
supposed to be
her
doing
dad and I
next.
are both artists, so it's just kind of a free, kind
Yeah.
of wandery kind of family,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get that, absolutely.
Well, I have a quote for you. You want to slide in really quickly? Awesome. This may be my absolute favorite quote ever. This is Pastor T.D. Jakes, and he said, if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passions. For your passions are going to lead you right into your purpose. So, you guys just gave Cassidy and I a list of the things that you're passionate about. From helping people to dance/kids/animals to kids/animals/maybe dancing. Okay? You just gave us all of that. And we love hearing that stuff. But on campus, like what I like to do is I actually pull out that word purpose and insert the word life calling. So if you can't figure out your life calling, figure out your passions. For your passions will lead you to your life calling. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. This concept of life calling is something that's really cool on our campus that we've kind of just in the past couple of years really started to expand and explore in really cool, fun ways that I don't know if a lot of other schools are doing. So we'll talk about that in a second. You want to hit me again? I've got some questions for you, okay? These are like your first tests of college, okay? Now, this first one's for students, second one's for parents, so prep yourselves, okay? By a show of hands, students, how many of you have ever been asked, what do you want to major in? Okay, that was an easy one, okay? Now that you have been asked that obligatory question, what do you want to major in? Ms. Mallory?
Nursing or medical
Okay. Anna?
Nursing or criminal justice.
Okay. Ms. Rachel? Not sure yet. That's okay. That's okay. Now, parents, what majors do you think your daughters would be best at? Do you think they kind of nailed it on the head? Or, ma'am, do you see something inside Miss Rachel that you think she'd do really well at?
I don't know. There's so many things. It's just
Yeah.
going to be really hard to try and figure it out, where she wants to be. And I keep just telling her, I don't care if you keep changing your mind, just keep changing your mind until you figure it out.
Yep.
I don't really care. I just want her to find that thing and not spend the rest of her life miserable, stuck in something that she felt like she made a mistake and then didn't switch. So, I don't know. We'll see what, I'm just willing to just wait and see what happens with her.
First time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Sir, today, and I get it about right?
Yes, because she is not kind of person that like to sit down and do, she like to get hands-on
Okay.
with
Be
things,
busy.
get busy.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
she would be good at that.
Ma'am?
I think so. I wouldn't be surprised if, I always thought she'd be a teacher, but now that she's saying that she wants to do nursing or position, I would.
Yeah. You see that? Okay. So guys, how many of you have ever thought about or have you ever been asked, what do you want to do as a career? If that question's a little different, if you guys ever thought about that before, give me a hand.
Or what you want to be when you grow up.
When you
That's
grow
kind of, I feel
up.
like, a typical.
Okay,
Or
again,
typical
that's a
question.
common question. You guys are doing well, you're 2 for 2 right now, okay? Final question. Dramatic effect. How many of you have ever been asked, what has God called you to do with your lives? You guys ever been asked that before? This question here is unbelievably uncommon, something that we want to make extremely common. This is what we want our students to be able to say, like, yes, like, same automatic hand raise as the majors. Like, I know what the Lord's called me to do with my life. I know it. That's what we're trying to do on this campus, okay? The fun thing is, like I just mentioned, we have that Life Calling and Career Center. That part I just talked about a little bit ago with that T.D. Jakes quote that Cassie's going to talk about. Everything from your freshman year experience classes to examining your strengths and your skills, all the way to career services. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, Cass?
So when I came in my freshman year, I was definitely in a place where you are, Rachel, of like, I, don't really know exactly what I want to do. But I thought that I had to choose a major. So I thought, okay, I have to decide on one, so I should just pick one and then we'll go from there. And so in high school, I was good at math, and people told me, oh, you can teach it. So I said, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll do math education. So I started out in that, did that for my first semester of freshman year, and really it was not a good fit for me. Math was okay, but I kind of just felt like this isn't energizing to me. It's not what makes me light up. Like, I love that you use that term of like, you can see her light up when she's around kids. And it really didn't do that for me. It was more people for me. And so, but I didn't really know how that would necessarily fit. So in order to kind of explore that, I ended up deciding not to have a major. And so here we have a program called our Life Calling program. And students actually do a major called Pre-Declared. And our Pre-Declared major, our freshmen, when they come in, they select a major. It's actually our second largest major that freshmen coming in pick after nursing. So a lot of our students, like, you are not alone in not exactly being sure what you want to do. Definitely, it's a common thing to not know when you're, 17, 18 years old, what you want to do for the rest of your life. And so my second semester freshman year went through our Life Calling program. So part of that program is you take a class called Intro to Life Calling. And through that, you take a variety of different assessments that talk about your personality, your different strengths that God has given you. We do one called Image that evaluates your strengths and kind of pairs that with careers. So you kind of do this combination of evaluating just kind of yourself and, looking at what God has gifted you in, and then kind of seeing where that fits with different career paths. So for me, I ended up kind of thinking of a career first and then picked a major that kind of got me there. So I really would love to be a marriage and family therapist. That's kind of my end goal with that, still kind of working towards where that's going to fit in my life because it does require a master's. But with that, I decided to study psychology. So that's kind of how I ended up on a very different track from math education. But with psychology, like, I've been able to use those skills that I learned there in this job, so effectively just in learning about active listening and hearing you guys and listening, to what you guys talk about. And I think it's interesting hearing you, is it Marla? Marlo, okay. Marlo's hearing you talk about maybe seeing Mallory doing teaching. I think it's interesting to kind of pick out those different strengths, and maybe they won't necessarily manifest themselves in a specific career, but I think, you could be good at teaching people how to take care of themselves and teaching health. I think of, like, Alex went to school for teaching. Right now, he's not a teacher, but he is always teaching us how to, like, do things on our computers, or, like, I'm like, Alex, I don't know how to do this, and he's very patient at teaching us how to do things. And so I think it's cool to see the way that God uses, whatever gifts that we have, maybe not always in the way that we think that they'll be used, but still in a really awesome way. So I think kind of being aware of that, I think, is good about that. But back to the Pre-Declared program, part of that is life coaching. So you get to meet with a certified life coach as part of that program. Students that aren't in the program can do life coaching for free as well. So even if you were to start into a program and want to kind of have that self-awareness and have that during your freshman year or even throughout your years of school, you can do that for free as a student. So My life coach was really, really helpful in just helping me to evaluate those different assessments that we went through, so I wasn't having to just kind of read through it and figure it out on my own. He really helped me to figure out kind of what those different things meant. And mainly, it wasn't about, looking at those things and then him making a decision and saying, oh, you'd be really good at this, this is what you should do. It was way more about like asking these life-changing questions, asking these good questions, and helping me to evaluate those assessments, evaluate what I knew about myself, what, trusted family and friends told me about myself, and what God tells me about myself, and then how that fit into a major and a career and come past that. So throughout school, the Life Calling office also offers services more on the career side of things. So farther on, when you're more set in your major, but then you're evaluating, okay, what kind of population do I want to work with, what age group, what type of career, like within nursing, do I want to work in a hospital? Do I want to work in maybe like a doctor's office? Do I want to work overseas? Like where do I want to work? What kind of setting? And kind of evaluating those different things. So we have career coaching as well for kind of that side of things. We also offer resume building, like helping you build your resume, evaluate that. We do mock interviews as well, so you can practice your interview skills. And also they actually have spaces up there where you can do interviews too. If you were to do like a Skype interview or something, you can have a professional space to use rather than, sitting in your dorm room with your, messy bed and clothes everywhere behind you. So they have a lot of different services to help our students just to, feel that they know kind of, that they have those resources, that they have someone older, wiser, to kind of help them to evaluate those different assessments and evaluate kind of where they're going.
So I want to talk about some of these things that we promise as a university to be growing our students in. So we mentioned those characteristics being character, scholarship, and leadership. I mentioned earlier to you guys that Cassidy and I are going to spend time today discussing those things, and I want to make sure we get to those, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is our campus developing you guys to be of a character that is unapologetically Christ-centered, okay? So play along with me for a second. Everyone go ahead and close your eyes, okay? With your eyes closed, when you hear the word character, I want you to think of a person. Maybe it's someone you live with, or work with, or go to school with, but that just embodies the ideal image of character, okay? When you have that person in mind, go ahead and open your eyes. Now, thinking about that person, what qualities do they possess? This is like a non-rhetorical question. I'm looking for feedback. What are some qualities they possess? Strength. Yes, ma'am. Keep it coming. I'll just go straight down the line if you want me to.
Or you can chat now.
Just genuine.
They're genuine. Yes, ma'am. Girls.
Honest.
Okay. Good.
Trustworthy.
Okay. Loving. We might as well have you answer to that.
Strength.
Strength too? Okay. Guys, these are all great characteristics. The three that I wrote down that came to mind right away, and I thought of my mom right away, was honest, integrity, and trustworthiness. Those are the three things that instantly come to mind for me. Well, on this campus, what we realize, and this is what we're hoping all people realize, is that the ideal image of a person with character is Christ. What we are trying to do on this campus is to get each and every one of our students to look and act more like Christ each and every day. Now, acting and looking like Christ for us as imperfect people is a messy process. And we, trust me, don't have it all together yet. I'd love to be able to say that we are perfect people living in like a perfect little place here at Indiana Wesleyan, but there are some times when we mess up and we get it wrong. But we have a gracious community around us that comes and supports our students and our staff and the people that are here, so that if we kind of fall from the path of character, we have people around us who love us to get us back on track. So on this campus, like I said, we're trying to get you to look and act more like Christ. So what we do is every single class is going to start with a prayer or devotion. Our chapel services which are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 11, are actually required for students. So this is a time where we do praise and worship, we have prayer, we have community announcements that all of our students need to know about, but then we always have someone that comes to campus, someone who may be connected to Indiana Wesleyan, like a student, or professor, or a board member, or the president of the university. Or we have people from outside of campus come in, but they always have a message on their heart that they believe our student population should know. It's something that is going to be able to, if we do it well, bring us closer to Christ each and every time. During our athletic events, this is the one for me that was the hardest to grasp sometimes, and still is. Before and after our athletic events, we actually pray with each other as athletes. Now that was hard for me to grasp as well, because like I played high school sports, and like when I played baseball, like when I was catching, I talked smack to the guys that came up to the plate. Like it's weird for me to see our baseball players like go pray for each other before and after the games, even if we clobbered them or if they clobbered us. Like we're still praying to see that everything that we do is glorifying God through all of our actions. So like I said, guys, this is a process that we're trying to do well on campus. It's a messy process sometimes, and we're not perfect. But we're striving to do that each and every day. We're going to be growing you guys in the same facet. Okay? So character is the first one. Who remembers what the second characteristic is that we're going to be developing you guys? Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
I was gonna ask him too, I'm glad we were of the same mind,
Yeah.
I wanted to quiz you. All right, so that second word is scholarship. Specifically, we do that here through an academic community. When I say the word scholarship, what's the first thing that kind of comes to your mind? You can shout it out. Money.
No,
Yes,
yeah.
and it is.
You
And
had it right
yeah,
away.
typically.
I saw the eyes. I knew it.
Yes. Typically, people are like afraid to say that because we like feel weird. But in this time of your life, it's something that when you hear the word scholarship, you think money. That's like the first thing that comes to mind. Which we can we'll talk about that kind of scholarship later
We'll talk
on.
about it. Don't worry. We'll talk about it.
But scholarship, another definition of scholarship, and kind of the original definition is higher learning. And so we're not necessarily, just committed to money. We are committed that we do want to, give the scholarship. But we want to grow you guys into higher learning. So as students, as you guys think about kind of what you would want in your academic program, are there some different kind of characteristics that you think you would need? Or even parents, things that you think your students would need in a program? And you can kind of shout them out. I know that Alex, you mentioned Anna being really hands-on. Like, so kind of that hands-on thing. Are there some other things that maybe you need in an academic program?
You already said it.
Yep, you already said the main one?
Yeah.
Well, like for me, for example, like I needed to make sure that I had small classes. Because if I had a class that was like too large and I couldn't go to talk to the professor, or I couldn't have like the people sitting next to me like that I knew, like I knew I would not be successful in that course. Because yes, I love learning, but sometimes it took me a little bit longer to figure things out than the kids sitting next to me. So I needed that extra time with a professor or with students in study groups or with tutoring to be able to learn the content. Like that's something that I needed personally.
Maybe alternatives to certain people who aren't very good at test taking, or they need to hear a book rather than
Yep.
read it.
There you go.
Definitely. I was one of those that had to hear it rather
Yeah.
than reading it.
And some people need to hear things, some people need to see things, some people need to do things. You learn in all different ways. And the great thing about our programs here is that you'll get to experience all of those different types of learning in different ways. And for example, like what you're talking about with having trouble taking tests. We do have an office on campus called the Center for Student Success. So that's not specifically for one academic program, that's for all of them. So for any students that struggle with test taking or note taking or just need help in a class, there's free tutoring available through the Center for Student Success. I did that for a couple of my psychology classes that I knew even going in that were going to be tough. Because we have those smaller class sizes, we have a 14-to-1 student to professor ratio, so it's definitely smaller class sizes. And because of that, I was able to connect with even upperclassmen in my program. And so I knew going in, physiological psychology is going to be really hard. And one of my friends, who was a couple years above me, she told me I got a tutor within the first week, and I'm so thankful that I did. And so I went the first week of physiological psychology, I got a tutor. And I'm so thankful that I did, and I got that advice, and I was able to get to know someone, kind of almost have this kind of informal mentor in a way, because our programs are small enough that you can connect with people. I think that professors are a super important factor with that as well, and being able to access your professors. And because they don't have a class of 600 that they're teaching, they have a class of 14, sometimes up to 25, depending on the different class. They're able to connect with you more. And because we are a Christ-centered school, they care about you more than just what grade you get in their class or that you're there. They're not the type of professors that if you don't show up, it doesn't matter because I still get paid. They're not like that at all. They care. They reach out to you. I've had professors reach out to me when I didn't show up for a class and ask me how I'm doing and if everything was okay. I've had professors, help me with life skills, like just even time management outside of the classroom, that, it didn't matter, to him if it wouldn't have affected how he got paid or his evaluation as a professor or anything. But he cared about me as a person and how, successful I was going to be in the future. For your different programs, as you guys go on tours after this, you guys are going to get to explore a little bit of our different programs and different things that are available to you guys on campus. But kind of talking about that kind of hands-on experience, as you two are kind of thinking of nursing or pre-med, something with that, we have our patient care lab on campus, and so that's a place where students who are nursing students are able to get experience before they go out to the hospitals. So they get to practice doing different things there on some of our, I think we have 20, 25 mannequins in there. But students get experience doing things there before they're actually working with real people. So you also get opportunity to have your clinical start sophomore year. So you have 3 years of clinical. So sophomore, junior, and senior year, you have clinical experiences. If you are thinking more along the lines of criminal justice, my younger sister just graduated in April with a criminal justice degree. Her practical experiences included a lot of various things, but they would go to all over the place. They would go to prisons in town and learn kind of how the prison systems work. They would go to the academy. They would go to police station in town. They go to a lot of different things as just little field trips. They would do field trips all the time. I felt like every week she was telling me she was going on a different field trip. But then she actually did an internship through our program as well with Indianapolis Metro Police Department. So she did that for 6 weeks last summer and got connected through one of the professors here, who's actually he's a sergeant or lieutenant. I'm still trying to learn the whole the hierarchy of the police department. So she did that for 6 weeks last summer, and now she's actually in the academy. I think she's in her 34th week in the police academy with IMPD after she graduated. So being able to see kind of what those practical experiences do for you, and then being able to see her do that. I think there's, maybe 40 students in their class, and they had thousands apply. And so to see her out of all of those students that applied, or all those people that applied, to see her have that success because she was prepared well here. So every single program has that practical experience, has that, listening, through lecture, reading a book, you have all these different types of learning that you're going to experience in different programs. So you can see more of that on the tour as well.
The last thing we have for you is leadership, okay? Now, it's all about being a world changer through leadership. Leaders look differently to different people, okay? I've been gracious enough and been blessed, absolutely, with great leaders in my life. Have you guys ever worked for, and this is students and parents, have you guys ever worked for somebody that's had really good leadership skills? And if so, what does that look like? What does a good leader look like to you guys? Communication, okay. Say endurance, can run far. It's supposed to be a joke, you get a laugh, Anna. Thank you, Ms. Evan. What do you mean by endurance?
Anything you throw at them, they can overcome.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like that. Organized, okay.
I think someone who develops their employees rather than just trying to boss them,
Right.
develop them to be as good as they are.
We actually just went to a conference as a team out in Denver, Colorado, and one of the sessions was talking about the difference between managing and leading. And I think that there really is a difference between, just having maybe a leadership role, like being a manager, and a difference between, just kind of bossing people around, and a difference between actually leading people and developing people.
So even talking about that, like the whole manager not really developing people below you, have you ever worked for somebody that wasn't a good leader? You guys have any stories about that? Like, I'd love to hear these. These are some of my favorite stories.
You're shaking your head, Anna. What are your thoughts?
She was actually a supervisor, and because I worked at Hollister, and she wasn't the person that hired people, it was the managers under her that would hire people. But if she didn't like that person just because of how they looked at their personality, they would hire them, but she wouldn't schedule them at all. They're like people who got hired in the summer and they get scheduled over too.
Oh no. Yeah, so that's not a good leader for sure. Anybody else? Again, for me, I've been fortunate enough to have mostly really good leaders. There was one leader that loved to make sure everything was done exactly the way she said it was. As in, she would say what she would like done, and then would stand next to you while while we were doing it to make sure it was done properly. And if we varied any way from what she had said, it was corrected in front of us, in front of everybody. So it was not an encouraging environment. It was a place that was kind of demeaning at times and didn't give employees a chance to thrive and grow and maybe even feel comfortable bringing up new suggestions for a way things could be done better, because it didn't feel like that was accepted. Well, we obviously don't want to be growing people that are like that. We want to be able to make sure that our students on campus realize that being a leader is not focusing on your title, the number of letters after your name, the amount of zeros that you have in your bank account, being dressed the fanciest, or talking the loudest. We don't want students to realize, or we want students to realize that's not what leadership actually looks like. According to Christ, being a leader is someone who steps up as a servant. That are developing people that are below them, that are coming alongside and giving up of their time and energy and who knows what else to actually be with people around them. Christ is an ideal example of that. Getting down on his hands and knees, and I love this example, of washing his disciples' feet. For me, that's so powerful, because growing up through my life, the different jobs and the leaders that I've been around, there's not a single one of them that would have gotten down and washed their employees' feet. Even the ones that I thought were great leaders, until I got here. When I got here, my RD, or the resident director, freshman year, actually came through and did that for every single student. He didn't even know me. This was day 3 of being in the residence hall, and my resident director, who had bumped into me once, and I'd seen him in the hallway a couple times, he was there for us. And he wanted to mock that style of leadership. And we actually continue that today. I don't continue that today. I don't go around and randomly washing people's feet. But our residence life staff, who are these students on campus, actually this picture here, their RDs, or their bosses, will actually at the beginning of the year bring everyone to a fountain on campus, which you'll see in a little bit, and actually get down on their hands and knees and wash their employees' feet to show them what it looks like to be a real leader. Someone who gives up of their time and maybe gives up of clean hands to be able to dedicate this to students. So what we do on campus is we get you outside of this Indiana Wesleyan community, and we get you plugged in with people in the community that actually need your help. So in every single residence hall, there is a position called the Outreach Coordinator. The Outreach Coordinator's job and passion is to be able to go out and serve the people in our Marion community that need help. They will actually connect with different organizations here in the city, such as the Salvation Army, the St. Martin's Food Pantry, going down to the Boys and Girls Club, or working an after-school program at a couple of the local middle schools. They connect with those organizations And then we commit as a university to bring students to those organizations every single week. Sometimes it's harder than others to get students to go to those events. But sometimes, and this is what I loved, in our residence hall my freshman and sophomore year, we connected with the Boys and Girls Club, which is just down the street from campus. And on Tuesdays, about 2:30 until about 4 o'clock, we would go down and we would just hang out with some of the kids from the local Marion area. That was a fantastic thing for them and for us too, to be able to pour into the lives of the people around us, to be able to see these kids and, you know, kind of meet them where they are, and for them to meet us where we needed help too. Honestly, we just played basketball with them most of the time, and they loved that. I loved pouring into these kids, and I almost got as much out of the experience as I thought that I was pouring in. So we're going to get you connected with organizations here in Marion that need help. We also have opportunities for you guys to go kind of out all over the place, not only here in Marion or the state of Indiana, but going out nationally and internationally as well. There are quite a few mission trips that go out every single year from Indiana Wesleyan. I had the chance my freshman year to go to New York and stay at the Salvation Army in Harlem. And there was a group of about 10 or 15 of us that just kind of poured into the pastors that were there and helped do just a little bit of work around the place that they just couldn't do by themselves. They just needed an extra set of hands. So it was us getting kind of out of our comfort zone at times to love on and support the people around us. For me and the staff and people that were with us, it was a chance for us to realize that, you know, it's great to be able to give up of ourselves and love the people next to us. We get to look and act more like Christ. And again, just like I mentioned earlier, we may not get it right every single time, but we're trying. That's all we can do. I would love to be able to confidently say that every single year we are graduating like 500 to 600 to 700 kids that have this idea of servant leadership down pat. We would quickly change the landscape of this country if we were able to do that. And that, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because that's an exciting thing for me. To be able to graduate students that don't care about titles or money or managing employees, but are more passionate about encouraging those around them, challenging and growing the people next to them, and serving the people they're with. So that's what we're doing on this campus. We're growing you in character, scholarship, and leadership while you're here, not just through your academics. So I guess the question that we have for you guys is like, so what? Cassidy and I sit here for a little while and we talk about what Indiana Wesleyan does and how you can get involved, but do you want to talk about that so what question?
All right, so Alex is going to go ahead and pass out some cards to you guys. So we kind of want to talk about maybe something that you guys can take away from today. So Nelson Mandela says, action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming. But vision with action can change the world. So we want you guys to take kind of an action step today. And this is for everybody, parents included. We're not taking these back, so these are only for you guys. I want you guys to write down something that maybe resonated with you from today. Something that you can maybe take a step forward. And for you, that might be, maybe even just in the next week, paying attention to those moments where you really light up. Paying attention to things that you're passionate about. Or maybe, you have some ideas about what you want to do. Maybe shadow someone. Or, ask somebody that you know who's in that role some questions about that. How did you get into that? Or, what do you like about this? What do you not like about this? So take some time, write something down. No need to turn it in. No need to make it perfect. Just write something down.
Guess who's back? Okay, so some of you may have actually written down like your next step is to like maybe look more into like the whole college process and start figuring out like what schools can be offering me as a student. So we kind of want to put this together for you. This is your kind of next step process with Indiana Wesleyan. Obviously, the first step is to come to campus and talk to us, because I'd love to be able to do that with all of you guys. But since you guys are at the point of like looking to come to campus either next year or starting soon, Miss Anna, the first thing to do is actually complete the online application, which, two really nice things. Students, go ahead and pat yourselves on the back, because there's no essay required for our application, so go pat yourselves on the back. Okay, that's a good thing for you guys. And go ahead and pat your parent on the back, because there's no application fee either. Okay, so pat them as well. That's awesome. So it is a completely free application. The site where you can go fill it out online is actually inside your folder on the inside panel. We actually printed that for you there. Now the next thing, we actually need two more things from you, and that's it, to get you guys officially accepted at campus. We need your transcript from at least the end of junior year of high school, and then we need your test scores. So Miss Anna, coming from a different school, what we would need is a transcript from the school, and there's a specific transfer form which I can talk to you about a little bit later, okay? But coming out of high school, what you guys would need, like I said, is your transcript and test scores. We accept the SAT or the ACT. It does not matter to us. We have specific scholarship scales set aside for each one of those, which Cassidy and I will talk about those scholarship scales in a second. Now, if you guys don't gain anything else today from what Cassidy and I talked about, I want you to make sure you hear this. Here at Indiana Wesleyan, we do look for students to have a certain GPA and a certain test score. We love seeing about a 2.6 GPA on a 4.0 scale, an 18 on the ACT, and a 960 SAT. But here's the important part. If you are below those scores, please do not think that you are disqualified from coming to campus, because that is not the case at all. We understand here as an office and as a university that our students are so much more than just a GPA and a test score. It's actually comical for me to think that a whole student picture is summed up with two numbers. So if you are below those marks, we may ask for a couple extra forms, but it's for us as an office just to get a chance to know you and your situation a little better. For example, you may be a great test taker, but had a super crappy situation happen at home and your GPA dropped one semester. Or let's say you're doing really well in high school, but then you were just utterly ill the week before the SAT or the ACT, and you just didn't do well because you fell asleep during the math portion. Okay, like, we get that stuff like that happens. Okay, so we would ask for a letter of recommendation and then a short essay. The essay and the letter of recommendation are your guys' opportunities to bolster or supplement your current application to give us as admissions counselors a better glimpse of who you are. Does that make sense? Give me a head nod if you're tracking with me. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure you guys got that before you left today. Okay? After that, you will get a couple invitations from us. We have a really cool online site called Schools App that you guys can be a part of, where all accepted students at Indiana Wesleyan are actually invited to this, and you have a chance to talk to the incoming class of Indiana Wesleyan students, and maybe find a roommate on there, or talk about what classes you're enrolled in, or figure out where you want to live on campus. It's actually pretty cool. There is a deposit you can pay. It's $200 deposit, like once you know you're coming to campus. That does a couple things for you. It holds your spot as a member of the class. It allows you to fill out your housing application, and then it also kind of makes you eligible to sign up for classes when that time comes. That deposit is fully refundable until May 1st of your senior year. So if you turn it in October, and for some crazy reason you decide to go somewhere else, before May 1st, if you tell us, we'll send that back to you. Selfishly, I'd love to have all you guys here on campus, so don't decide to go other places. But if you do, we can send that deposit back to you guys. And then finally, this is something that we'll talk about here in a second as well, but make sure you turn your FAFSA in. Do you guys know what the FAFSA is? Have you heard that term before? Rachel, you gave me like the weird eyebrow raise, so I'm gonna take that as a no.
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, and I'll break it down for you guys, essentially the FAFSA is a big calculation that is looking at like your parents and your family's financial situation to get a glimpse of what you may or may not be able to contribute, bring to college. This calculation is specifically designed to spit out a dollar amount at the very end. That dollar amount is called your expected family contribution. So it is what they expect your family to be able to contribute to college. The higher that dollar number is, it's potentially that like, you may not receive as much in like grants and free scholarships from the federal government or your state. The lower the number is, the potentially the higher amount of scholarships and grants from the state and the federal government you receive. Does that kind of make sense? Cool. Yes.
Alrighty, so the first kind of thing that we start with for financial aid, and this is actually something that when you receive, hopefully, an acceptance letter, you also receive where your academic scholarship will be. So we use your GPA and your test scores to determine kind of where you would be on this scholarship level. So for students that are accepted, every single student that's accepted gets at least $4,000 per year, so that's $16,000 over 4 years. And that can go up to $14,000 or even $16,000 for national merit finalists and semifinalists. So with this, if you guys want to see kind of where you're at on the scholarship level, you can actually use our scholarship calculator online. If you guys, that inside part of your folder where the application website is at, there's also an admissions info website on there. So if you go on there, there's a scholarship calculator, big red button on there that you guys can put in your GPA and your test scores and see kind of where you're at. How many of you guys have taken either ACT or SAT already? Taken that? Okay. So that's something that you guys can put in, and we can talk a little bit more about later because the transfer process is a little bit different, so we can chat with you after. But yeah, so that's the thing that you guys will start with. You actually have until July 1st, after you graduate from your senior year of high school, to update your scholarship. So if you end up bringing up your GPA or retesting, you can actually bring that up. So I always encourage our students to take both the ACT and the SAT if you have the opportunity to, and then kind of find maybe one that kind of fits with you well and take that again, or take both of them again if you have the opportunity. Because often students will see that they will increase their score. I took the ACT the first time the end of my junior year, and then I took it at the very beginning of my senior year. And even I was in an upper level calculus class my senior year, and even just the first 3 weeks, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks into the semester, even that little bit of extra math helped me to bring up my math score and helped bring up my overall score. So even just a little bit, also just the nerves going down of not, it being the first time that I took the test too. So I would highly encourage taking those tests multiple times. And then, like I said, we can increase it until July 1st, so you have even after your senior year to increase that. So we will take into account your final GPA as well for high school. So on here we have some different tips for you guys. I kind of talked about a lot of them already, but the FAFSA does open on October 1st, so that is different from previous years. Last year was the first year for that to happen. So it opens up on October 1st. So you actually use your taxes from 2 years before. So we call them prior. So we use them 2 years before. So for example, if you're filling out the FAFSA for this year, you aren't able to use your 2017 taxes because the year's not done. So you actually use your 2016 taxes for the 2018 school year. So it's a little bit tricky,
It's a little goofy.
but yeah, it's a little goofy, I think, but that's all right.
Yes, sir. I thought so, that Unitech told us that we can use 2016
Yeah.
taxes only for 2017, and you say go up to 2018?
Yeah, if you come to campus starting like the fall of next year, it's technically 2018.
Oh, 18.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's technically a prior. But if you were to start, for example, like fall this year, you'd use, then this would be fall 2016, or sorry, 2017. You would be 2015 taxes. So it's
Yeah.
the priors prior.
Yeah. You end
That's
up,
a good question.
yeah, it is a little tricky. So you end up filling out the FAFSA. So let's say you fill out the FAFSA October 1st, 2017. You're actually using just 1 year back taxes, but you're using them for the year that is going to start fall 2018.
Again,
Does that make sense?
it's a little goofy.
It's confusing.
But
But yeah, so talked about those academic scholarships of 4,000 to 14,000 using that scholarship calculator. There are other scholarships available for our students. So we have institutional scholarships as well as resources for you to use to get outside scholarships as well. So I'd encourage looking at those, especially kind of at this point in the year. Start looking at those, evaluating those. We have scholarships for art, music, theater, athletic scholarships, even scholarships for various departments, scholarships that you can find within your communities. I definitely encourage applying for outside scholarships like as soon as you can, especially because, you know, for some of you guys, you're kind of starting out this process. Some of you have visited, you know, a few more schools, but still starting out in the process, maybe don't know quite where you're going yet. And outside scholarships, you can apply anywhere. So you can put those, you know, wherever you end up deciding to go to school. So definitely would encourage checking out our scholarship opportunities here at our institution as well, and different job opportunities for you to get financial aid that way as well. So 2 tips that I think are super, super important when it comes to financial aid and the entire admissions process. I would definitely encourage you guys to finish the whole process. So when we kind of for our timeline for financial aid, we can give you financial aid kind of later in December, even early January, now that we have that October 1st deadline, or October 1st opening, if you guys fill it out early, you know, in October, early November. I would encourage you to walk through that process with the different schools that you're looking at. So wait until you get your financial aid, kind of see where you're at. And along with that, ask us questions. Don't be afraid of contacting your admissions counselor and letting them know, you know, okay, I'm kind of confused about this. I don't know, you know, what I'm supposed to be applying for, what I'm supposed to be doing. Or, you know, this isn't going to work. We need, you know, this much more to make this work for our family. Or, you know, I'm really interested in applying for a scholarship for this specifically. Or I don't know what I'm doing. Anything like that, please feel free to reach out. That's the reason why we're here, to help you guys kind of navigate this process, because many of us, you know, have done it specifically here as students, and, you know, now we're doing it on the other end, helping you guys with that. So please ask us questions about financial aid and everything else as well. So, but speaking of questions, do you guys have any questions kind of off the bat right now that you would like?
That makes me,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking about that when you're talking about the financial aid part of it.
Yeah.
Do they take into consideration, so we have kids in private,
Yeah.
you know, grade school and high school, is that part of that calculation? Is that even considered as part of your financial
Yeah.
responsibilities or that?
I don't know if it's something that's specifically on FAFSA that they consider that. We do, our financial aid offers a lot of special circumstances forms. I'm not positive if that one,
no, that's what I was
I don't
thinking
know if
too.
that one is a specific one for that, but it definitely is worth a conversation.
It is.
Brittany is nodding at me, behind me saying yes. So
Yes.
yes, that is one that is a special circumstance form. So what I would encourage doing is emailing our financial aid office and asking them, you know, okay, can I fill out a special circumstance form so that can be taken into consideration? So, yeah, things like medical bills, like loss of income, I think divorce. I think there's a lot of different things that fall under that special circumstance. So you guys can, you know, have a conversation about that and definitely take that into consideration.
Going back 2 years, that's a long time.
It is.
And
When
that-
medical
It is.
issues come up
Right.
since then.
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
wonder, yeah.
So that changes things as well, where, yeah, maybe, you know, your finances looked very different then than they do now, and that they will for future years. So being able to take that into consideration. So, yeah, definitely. That is definitely a conversation to be had. So, other questions?
When's the application open?
It is open now. So, yep, so for you guys who are going into senior year, and you can apply now as well. Well, look at that, already applied.
Nice.
But yeah, so it is open for you guys now. We will start reviewing for our new class, our fall 2018 class, starting in September. So you guys could find out, you know, within, you know, middle to end of September, if you guys have been accepted or not. And then we'll do rolling admission after that. So we'll kind of do it every week or 2 weeks after that point. So,
If you don't get accepted, you can reapply later then too.
if you're not accepted, I think you have to wait a year.
Maybe. The thing is, like, we will work with students very well
Yeah.
to make sure that if you're not accepted, you know why, and then you know the steps to be able to accomplish to get to the point of acceptance. I haven't worked with a ton of kids that is straight out have not been accepted. There are conversations that I've had with students to let them know, like, hey, before you can get accepted, I'd love to see your ACT score come up. Or I'd love to see you send me in an essay so I can read through it and make sure that you're going to be successful here in college. And there have been a couple students where I've turned to them and said, okay, unfortunately, I don't know if coming here right away is a good decision for you. Because yes, again, selfishly, I'd love to have you here on campus, but I want to make sure that this whole process is good for you and for us. So maybe doing half of the year at home, just one semester at home in a community college, get some classes under your belt, and that could be very beneficial, and then come again next year. So again, and we can talk about, like, if you're concerned about that, we can absolutely talk about like scholarships and like test scores, GPAs, and all that fun stuff. So maybe you can even take that weight off your shoulder now.
Yeah, and it's something that we will have a conversation with you. It wouldn't be something where like, oh yeah, we just write it off. It could be something where,
Yeah.
hey, we'd really like to, see your test score come up, and maybe it's not in the initial review, like, yes, we're good to go. It's also not gonna be like a no right away either. It's gonna be a conversation and kind of a work in progress, so, yeah.
Good question. You feeling all right, guys? Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I really appreciate it. We're going to get you on your tours here now with Miss Meggs and I think Miss Sam as well, or we'll be good to go.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, yeah, that covers. And if you guys wanna grab some information here too,